at today is we're going to introduce you to CLC. We're going to go through a slide presentation and we'll have some questions as we go through. Um, so just to be aware, we are recording this and it is going to go live. We are taking attendance, so we know who is on the call and who is, I guess, participating and not participating as they should. All right, so we're going to jump right in here. We have Ms. Carve is here as answering questions and looking after all the technical side of it. She's waving. They can't see you. Can they see you? All right. So let me set up the sheets. Okay, for those of you, can you see that screen? Because we're going to start here right away. More people are coming on here. And we're getting, we had a little game for you, but we decided not to play it. So anyway, good. We got 53 here. It's 21. We're going to start here. So what is CLC? This is a ministry graduation requirement that is a graduation requirement. So you need to this is a graduation requirement. You fail, you do grade 13. It's pretty simple. So what does it, oh, why are we not, hello? There we are. Okay, so we all know what career life education is. You took that in grade 10. That's where you did career exploration, a bunch of exercises on personality types and matching personality to careers, and then a personal health section, and then a finance section at the end. This now translates into career life connections, where is a grade 11 and grade 12. So it is a 2-year course. You will get a grade on your report card for CLC in your grade 12 year. So you won't get a grade 11 mark, but we will do some grade 11 work. And it'll show up on your report card as CLC. Now, the Ministry of Education has dictated that this is a marked course. In other words, you will be assigned a percentage, and as opposed to just a pass or fail. So there is some incentive to do some, reasonable quality work here because it does affect your final mark. So what is it? CLC is where we will explore some career choices, but it finishes in a capstone. So we're going to talk today a little bit, well, mostly about what is a capstone and what a capstone involves. So in a typical year, we would actually have conference days and all of the CLC content would be delivered in conference day. This presentation has been done many times to conference day classes as done as a session, and then you'd have a work session for the activity that we're going to assign today, and you would do that during the conference day. So normally you would get basically 8 conference days to finish CLC and your capstone. We'll have a few more Zoom sessions by introducing and taking you along the path of the capstone by the end of the grade 12 year. So we'll talk about this, 6 or 7 times before it's actually due. So CNC will include, as I say, conference day assignments and activities, conference day reflections, and the capstone, which is the introduction. That's what we will be talking about today. Also, the steps will you'll get a styles presentation. You'll learn about your initial proposal. We talk about journals and then your actual presentation. Plus, do not forget that you are still required to do your 30 hours of work volunteer experience. Okay? This is independent and separate from CLC and Capstone. We'll talk and show you the forms that are needed later, but it is different and they cannot be combined. They are both graduation requirements. You do not do CLC Capstone, uh, you fail and repeat grade 12. You do not do your 30 hours of work experience, and we see you back for grade 13, and you do your 30 hours of work experience and you graduate. So, when is it due? Your presentation will be due in spring of your grade 12 year. And as I say, it'll be made up mostly of conference activities, but a lot of at home work, depending on the project that you choose. So when you start, like yesterday, or maybe tomorrow would be a good start. So you can start at any time. There are some grade 12s that actually started about halfway through the grade 11 year. So they got a really good start on their capstone. So today we're going to introduce the capstone, which would be October. In early December, we're going to talk about capstone styles and mentors. In February, we're going to talk about the styles worksheet. In May of your grade 11 year, you will submit to the committee a capstone proposal. It will be approved, altered, suggestions made um, about the capstone project. In May, well, we'll assume May of your grade 12 year is when your capstone presentation is. At that time, in May of your grade 12 year, you will also have to be complete your 30 hours of work experience, volunteer work experience, and you will, at that point you will need a current updated resume. So what does this look like? So this is just laid out in a little different graphic where in October we have introduction to capstone. December we have capstone styles. There's a homeroom check in February just to find out where you are and if you have decided on what you're doing. An introduction to mentors and what a mentor is done to do. And then in the May conference day will be where you actually submit and get feedback on your capstone proposal. So what happens in grade 12? In grade 12, we will reintroduce the capstone in October. Tomorrow, as you probably have heard, is the grade 12 session. Just like this, the different one, but same idea. It'll be a Zoom presentation going over some of the same things that we're going to talk about today because they missed their last two conference days where we talk about this stuff. So the capstone styles and mentors log in December. We will have a check-in in February with capstone presentation in May, and we're just going back here over the same stuff again. So there's a most, as you'll see, most of the grade 12 stuff is a homeroom progress check. So we will see where you are, where you need help, what we can help you with, so that in end of April, you're not in a big panic and you're like, oh my goodness, I have to do this big project and I have like tonight to do it. Well, my advice to you is if you wait until that time, you are really going to struggle and it'll be a tough call to do this project kind of in a short amount of time. So capstone, what is it? It is a capstone project, is an accumulating project that allows students to demonstrate their learning of an interest or a passion. So you will design, assemble, and present a project to an audience of peers, mentors, parents, community members, and to demonstrate your personal learning and achievement in and out of school, growth in the core competencies, thinking, communication, personal and social responsibility, and you will reflect on your capstone um, process, the, the journey that you took to get to where you are. So, how does this work? Capstone projects will include the following. We've talked a little bit today about proposal. That proposal is going to be looked at and for you to kind of funnel down to a final idea and put it all together. We'll talk about mentorship and what mentorship means to your project. Then you have a product. That's something that you create. And then we have the presentation. Now, we need to separate the product and the presentation. Your presentation is a representation or a of the journey of your product, your capstone. Okay. No, for example, say that you really wanted to explore a certain style of drawing. So you get your all your drawing skills out and your paper and everything you need, and you create all your drawings. So that's part of your product. What do you do then? Well, you need to extend that a little bit, and you need to show what you learn. So you're going to do an art show. That would be part of your product. Your presentation then would include pieces of your product, how you put the show together, uh, bits and parts of a journal of the process that you had to create that product. Okay? So that's why I'm suggesting you start early and make it really easy on yourself. So, since the capstone project is focused around an area of passion or interest, I have some questions for you to kind of guide you along the way. So, uh, what, excuse me, um, what do you love to do when you're not in school? And what can you see yourself doing in the next 5 to 10 years? So, is this something that is going to be long term, or is it just, are you just going to do this like for tomorrow and then do the project and that's it and you're done? So, which of the passions or interests might lead or influence a future career, education, or maybe some life goals or choices? So, we're asking that the capstone project be meaningful to you and something that you want to learn or passionate about so that you can actually get something out of it. So, which of your passions or interests you have you really explored or been to committed to, sorry, during your high school? Is there a course that you really want to maybe go deeper into? Is there a sport that you have always wanted to learn but never had the chance? Um, is there, I don't know, maybe you want to make movies. So have you done made a movie? Have you written a movie? Have you shot a movie? Have you edited a movie? Have you showed a movie that you made? So it's those kinds of passions and interests that are allow you to make the capstone meaningful to you and that you can get something out of it. And then the last question is, what's the best way that you can show an audience of teachers, parents, peers of what you know and what you learned in that process? There will
Yo,
be
what's
some
up? What's up?
examples posted on the website from last year. So luckily for you guys, you are the second kick of the can of the capstone process, and the people last year that graduated have left you some samples that are pretty good. So the one that comes to mind immediately that some of you might recognize right off the bat is there is a very nice red bench out in the courtyard area. That is the result of a capstone project. That student um, wanted to come back into the wood shop and experience some more woodworking, but hadn't had the opportunity because academics got in the way and there wasn't room in her timetable to come back to the wood shop. So she chose as her capstone to research, buy the material, build that project, paint it, and give it back to the school as a reminder that um, the capstone and what the capstone can do. I mean, that's not the purpose of why she left it, but it's a really good example of a capstone. And then the example that you'll see that we upload is the presentation she made for that um, for that bench process. So um, it is a solid presentation and a solid project. So where does that take us? So the steps will be you'll have your initial capstone proposal done by this May. We'll gradually get there and work through it by then. In your so you have the summer to think about it and get it together. In the fall of your grade 12 year, you will actually submit a final capstone proposal. That's the one that you will be working on. In the spring, you will do your capstone presentation. Um, Historically, this was going to be done in a science fair presentation where each person would get a table in the gym and you would set up a um, little science fair type demonstration board and community members and peer classmates and mentors and the committee and administrators would go through and actually give you a mark based on that, like a little science fair, just uh, like a science fair, so how the science fair works. However, in June of this year, or because of COVID, we didn't do that because we actually weren't in school, so it made it difficult. And a video was shot, so you'd edit and put together a video that became a video presentation. I am expecting that by June we will be back into a video presentation, so you can kind of plan for that now. Um, that's the current. We'll see what happens, but you'll know if you have a year and a half to get there. Um, by your grade 12 year, it might be different, but you kind of have to plan for maybe both. So again, start early, make a journal, start early, collect as much evidence as you can now. So um, what we're going to ask today is you actually start a little bit on the project. So all the documents for your capstone are on the school website under student section pages, career life, capstone project. They're all listed for your grade 11 year and your grade 12 year, as well as some presentation notes there. So it's all in one spot. You have access to that. You can go explore around there and see what's up. So what is actually there and what we want you to look at first. So there is a booklet or a handout there called J.M. Burnett Capstone Styles. Okay, looks like that because I want to copy the picture of it. And they talk about the capstone styles. So we didn't make this up. This came from the Ministry of Education. So everybody in the province is working with this capstone styles. So what does that mean? So they have set out to be 7 different capstone styles um, that they are suggesting that um, we focus on. So the first one is investigate and report. So that is an inquiry process of a research uh, type report. So you would pick a topic, um, do a whole bunch of research, and you'd end up basically writing a paper um, for this capstone project. Now, that paper, I would imagine, is not 4 pages, 6 pages. We're probably upward to first year university, uh, 10, 12 pages, maybe somewhere there. So it's not just that go read one thing on the internet and write a report. So connect and collaborate is exactly that. So this is where you would connect with somebody in the community um, or a professional and do as a learning partner. So an example of that could be if at some point we are allowed back into elder care facilities, you could adopt a senior and spend time with them, research their illness or condition that they have, or maybe just their life story. And so you connect and collaborate with them. If it is a career that is not something that you are going to get at school very much, maybe you want to find a professional and job shadow them for a while. They'd mentor you. Maybe you can, I don't know, work there a little bit. I'm not sure. But do something like that where you're working with a professional and it's extending your learning and to find out whether that's something you want to do or not. Create and build is an ADST, so applied skills and design, more where you would build a project. This is where the bench was under, where necessarily didn't create it, but she had to go look on the internet and search for plans and pick the best plan that she liked and all of that, buy the material, build it, finish it, and so that's a create and build. Again, my art show definition would be under create and build. If you're doing a movie, that would be probably, might be a create and build. Um, it has elements of other styles in there. So the innovation and entrepreneurship capstone would be more along sort of a business line. You would research, say, I don't know, a store on the web page or website or whatever you wanted to do, and or even if you wanted to open a little kiosk somewhere, I don't know, a food truck. I mean, I don't know. The ideas are crazy, but this is where you are um, doing some prototyping, you're analyzing, you're designing, you're doing financials, you're doing business plans, you're doing marketing. Yep, you're like that's innovation and business. So service learning is for students that want to collaborate in the community, learn community leadership skills, and they want to motivate others to make a difference in their school and or community. So this one takes, I mean, there's many different ways that this can be done. Um, but it is where you are working, making strategies, you're planning, you're implementing your strategies, you're seeing how they work. So you're working to maybe promote, for lack of a better word, a cause. Um, you find something that you're interested in, you want to explore, and you could actually create some interesting programs um, around that. One that comes to mind right off the top of my head would be something um, with recycling or pollution or waterfront cleanup or something like that. That would be a service learning capstone. So create and express is the next one. That is where you need to convey about your interests and passions, about a creation. So that could be creative writing, it could be music, it could be drama, it could be dance, it could be a movie, it could be photography. Yeah, Miss Carter's really happy when I said that because she's sitting right here and she's really happy about photography. So it is that creative side where you would lay that out. You would, if you were doing a dance performance, you would choreograph it, you rehearse it, and then you would actually do a show, and then your presentation then would be the reflection of that journal or journey, sorry. So the last one then is a personal story capstone. This is where you get to reflect on and share some life-changing events or experience in your family or to yourself. So this is autobiographical usually. So it could be if you are um, been diagnosed with some sort of condition or illness, you could research that and do all kinds of stuff and then talk about your story around that. Typically, a personal story capstone is around family trees and immigration. If your family is immigrated and you don't really know what happened or nobody really talks about it, you go spend some time with your parents or grandparents and ask the questions, and then they tell you this story, and you get to reflect on how that affects you. Will that lead to a career? Possibly, probably not, but you have extended your learning, and that's the point of the capstone, is to take something that you are interested in and pursue it. What we're kind of finding with this project is students are so involved in school and schoolwork that they sometimes don't take the time to do the stuff that they find passion about or are interested in. So the great thing about the capstone is it takes that interest or passion and now turns it into a school project sort of that you're marked on. So it's kind of like more school, but you get to choose the topic. So my advice to you is think kind of hard. Um, you could get a piece of paper and write a list down of all the ideas that you had that you could do. And then we kind of funnel that down to one that you were going to pick. So I hope I answered some questions there about what a capstone is and the style that is available and what you can really grab a hold of and run with. So what do we do now? So um, also on the school website is the Capstone Styles worksheet. This is your first process to your proposal. So what we're asking here on your capstone worksheet is what style appeals to you. Um, Sometimes your ideas will come from your styles, and sometimes your ideas will give you the styles that you're going to choose from. So we're asking you to think about this, the pros and cons of each one, which one will best fit kind of what you have in your idea, and why that is. On the very bottom of that page, there is a comment there about journal. You're going to get tired of hearing me say this, but you need to start early and you need to start recording your ideas, your process. Keep every scrap of paper you write on, take a picture of it, put it somewhere, keep it safe. Make a sketchbook, do a journal, make a diary, I don't know, take photos of everything that is relevant to that. Put it in a folder somewhere because you need to create a journal or show a path that you have taken to get to your capstone. What we don't want to see as a committee is that you show up with a piece of paper and this very elaborate presentation and a crazy project, but no evidence that either you did it or that it was an original idea from you. So we need to find that process. And remember that the presentation is not necessarily about the product. What we're looking for in the presentation is a reflection on the project that you create. Where does that reflection come from? It comes from doing the project and then looking at your journal, going back, seeing where you started, and seeing the progress that you made to get to your final presentation. Also on that page, on the school website page, will be, I don't have a screen for it, but will be your work volunteer experience form. So one of the questions I got earlier today was, can my 30-hour work experience be part of my capstone? They are independent, and if this form is not filled out and signed off by your supervisor, by you, and in essence by somebody from the school district, um, it's a X on your graduation requirement, and people have not graduated because of the 30 hours of work experience. They forgot, they get it done, or whatever. So it's critical that you think about that as well, um, as maybe to go along with your capstone. But it is separate and it needs to be done on that form. We will check that in next year when we do our check that you have that form completed and signed off. Okay. So I think that's been fairly clear about what the expectations are around styles and work volunteer experience. So if you have decided to do a certain type of capstone project and maybe it doesn't apply too much, but the first thing that you'll see on the school website is a CLC service project. Okay, that was put there to for people that could not do their original capstone idea during COVID, right? If you find yourself in that position, that is your option that you need to do. You need to go download that document, and you need to work through that um, as your capstone. Okay, so that's what that first page is. You'll see that there. I don't have a shot of that one, but you'll see it on the website when you get there. So, Ms. Carver, are there any questions sitting around over there that? Okay, we're having trouble setting up the chat. If you have any questions, you can email Carve, and then we can get your questions asked. It's important that you get some questions. She's not going to be happy about all the emails she's going to get, but that's okay. We are here to answer your questions. We have the answers. We will find an answer with you if we don't know the answer. Um, Most times, as I say, when I start talking to grade 11s at this stage and they come up with an idea, our suggestions are always, most often, I should say, I guess, to make the project bigger. Um, Very rarely do I say, oh, that project's way too big. I think you better cut that back. So we really are looking for that extension, like way out there, like a crazy idea. If you don't end up getting there, that's okay, because that's all part of the process. As we said to our grade 12s last year, when it came to presentation time, they're like, oh, I didn't get to do my capstone because of COVID. Whine, whine. And I'm like, you know what? That's part of the reflection. That's part of your capstone. So reflect on what happened and how that make you feel. So um, if you come with a question, be prepared to maybe expand on a little bit. I've sent students away and told them to come back with a new idea. Sure. Ms. Carp's going to pipe in here.
Get my audio here. Hey, everybody. So I just wanted to give you some examples that we saw that we were so impressed. Even though it was COVID, the last grad class really came together. And can you do a capstone with other people? Yes, you can. There is a group last year, I think it was 4 people, and they came together with a whole company, and they did all the marketing. One person was marketing, the next person was doing financials, and they researched their part of the capstone. So it may be under one big umbrella, but each person had a major part in that capstone. And each person presented their part of that capstone. They didn't do it together, but they were together, if that makes sense. We saw people build an electric bike from scratch, and all the companies that they went to meet to find out parts, to find out where they could get parts. We had one person who did DNA testing and figured out what their whole history of their family was all about, and realized that they were from parts that they had never known. So it's things like that. It's a major extension. I had one photo student that did 365-day photo challenge, and every day challenged herself to taking a photo, and then themes for each month, and learning how to use different types of cameras. And so that was great. We also had a couple other students that researched and created portfolios, and then did a whole art show, on a virtual art show with it. So it is endless, and it sounds daunting right now, but that's what we're here for, is to help you through the steps. And that's why we're starting so early, is to help you get there. So don't be worried. The hardest part is finding an idea. And if you get something that you really like, but then halfway through you're like, oh man, I wish I had changed it and did this with it. It's you have to think of it as it's an evolving project, and it can change, and you can talk about that change at the end when you go to present it as well. So that, if that helps at all, um, I hope that does, because it is daunting. It's a huge project. I won't lie at all. But I know that here at Burnett, the staff is behind you. A lot of us have been mentors, even for the class last year. And it was really fun. In the end, I was so impressed. I was kind of like, oh, this is so much for you guys. But I now look back on it and think, wow, this was really quite a discovery for a lot of people. So try to see the positive in it, because I saw a lot of people grow and learn through it, which was amazing, amazing. Okay. Anyways, I'll let it back to Mr. Bevan. I can't wait to see you guys and meet you guys and all those things, which I already have. So I'll let it go, give it back to Mr. Bevan. Okay. Okay, I'll do the last screen then. um, Uploading. So remember your My Blueprint that you now have been on for a couple of years now. Your capstone worksheet needs to be uploaded. All the work that you do, you want to put it into a capstone portfolio. So in your My Blueprint, you should create a capstone portfolio. And if you could get that done by December 1st, that would be super. If you can't get into your My Blueprint, let us know. We can help you out with that. But you should be at this point able to do so. And hopefully you remember how to create a capstone folder, but now you want to call it capstone portfolio. Yeah. Where to find help. You guys kind of know where the photo room and where the tech room is. Mr. Lim has also joined us up at the science, so know that you can come and ask any one of us. We're here to help you guys. We're here to guide you all the way to the end of grade 12 with the capstone. Anything, any facts, any documents, it will always be up on the website, so know that as well. Everything is there for you. We will also, as of next week, also be putting up some of last year's capstone videos so that you guys can see examples, because it's an abstract thing to think of right now, but once you see it, you'll probably come up with a million things. but we will also put that up next week on the website as well. Anything else? I think that's it. Have a great afternoon, you guys.
Okay,
Oh,
whoa,
there he is.
I got it back. So I don't see any questions yet. Um, there are always questions that we usually find. You can send us an email. One of the three of us send us an email to ask that. Um, so we really want to thank you for your time today. Uh, this is as Carp says, a process, and we are in baby steps. But so we want to give you a head start, give you what you need to get started and start thinking about it. Um, I find most students probably don't start this seriously until about this time in the grade 12 year, but they've been thinking about it and collecting resources, particularly if it is something to do with people in the community. You need to arrange that really, really early. Nobody last minute wants to give up extra time that they don't have. Okay. So I think,
We have one. We have a couple
oh, okay, there's some questions coming. Go ahead and read them out. Oh, no questions?
No.
All right. Thank you for your time. And we'll talk to you sooner than later, I hope. Okay. Good afternoon. See you later. Bye bye.